Hello and welcome to the Mercenary Podcast. My name is Seth, also known as White Fox SG, and I am excited to be back in the host chair with a very special guest today, Mike the Viking from Valhalla Club Podcast. What's up? How's it going, man?
Good, man. How are you?
I am doing great. Other than about a month's worth of sickness going through my family. Other than that, I'm doing great. Thankfully, I was only sick for a few days. Unfortunately, my wife has been sick for like 3 weeks, and it's not been fun.
Still sick?
Yeah, it's been
Man,
ridiculous. I mean, it was like an off and on thing, and then it's been like a persistent cough, and it's just been super annoying. Um, so yeah, like it's been a lot. That on top of everything else in a busy life, which I'm sure you can relate to. So,
a little
um,
bit.
a little bit, yeah. If you don't know who Mike is from the Valhalla Club Discord and the Valhalla Club Podcast, if you don't know, it behooves you to check out the Valhalla Club Podcast and join the Valhalla Club Discord, which, as always, is linked in our show notes. But I realized Mike had not been on the show, and we actually got to meet in person recently,
We did.
which was awesome. It was fun to meet you and your family and hang out for a little bit.
It was a great time.
Um, but for those that don't know you, give us a little bit. Give us a 30-second snippet of what the Valhalla Club Podcast is.
The Valhalla Club Podcast is another BattleTech podcast. We started out focused on like the Colorado community. Here within the past few months, we've kind of like zooming out a little bit to just broad BattleTech. Um, but yeah, we've got five of us. Ben is our Master of Spirits. Our big our I guess our niche fit for the podcast is we talk booze. So
Yep.
he talks about the drink of the month.
That's right.
Um, he's been working through some lists that he found, I think, on Reddit. I think he's finally almost done with it.
Yeah,
Um,
I know he's hated like every one of them. So
they're terrible. Like I haven't had any of them. I'm glad
I
he's
wouldn't
he's our
know.
guy.
I'm not an aficionado of alcohols and liquors, so I'll
Yeah,
leave that
when
to Ben.
yeah, when he lists off the ingredients, I'm just like, ugh, sounds. Who made this?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
I don't get it. I keep telling him, I'm like, when we're done, we need to go through and remake them or make new ones that actually, taste good. Cause, ugh,
well, because some of them I guess were like some of them I feel like maybe from listening to his description of them could be maybe on theme, but then some of
yeah,
them I don't know if it was just like made up with what somebody had and it wasn't necessarily like
yeah. I don't
the
know. There
best
was
choice.
one. I think it was called like the Pelican Shooter or something. It was like a Davian officer focused one or something like that. And it has like a sardine in the glass. I'm like, that's
Oh,
disgusting.
yeah, that's
I'm like,
gross.
so we need we need to put a call
That's
out. Like any BattleTech fans that are also mixologists,
Yeah,
hit
there you
us up.
go.
We
I
we
mean,
need we
like,
need we
I
need a
guess,
recipe book for the BattleTech
yeah,
booze.
I guess that would add a lot of salt.
Oh,
I am not a fan of
oh,
sardines. I've tasted them one time. They're
yeah.
super salty. Um, so that's the only thing I could think of is that it would add like a lot of salt content to whatever. But also too, like what? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me like that a Davian drink would have
Yeah, I don't
a
know.
sardine.
I feel like somebody just
That's
made that.
that's got to be an export unless they
Yeah.
just thrive on all these planets, right, in the inner sphere.
You need this one specific
This
sardine and it'll
one
taste good. Any
sardine.
other sardine and it tastes like crap.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, awesome. So what else? Anything else about the Valhalla Club podcast before we move on?
Well, so the Valhalla Club Discord is home for a lot
It
of the
is.
BattleTech podcasts now. because when we started it, and I was like, guys, there's too many Discord servers, and it's all redundant. It's all the same stuff over and over again.
Yeah.
And we had already started ours, and I started seeing more and more podcasts come to light. So I started just hitting them up and was just like, hey, do you want a home? Because
Yeah.
I've already got a server made and built out. I can give you your own channel, and that's yours to do whatever you want with.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's going to be another 10 very redundant Battletech Discords. So we've got
Absolutely.
a lot
And that's
of
why I wanted to bring it up
booths.
too with
Hmm.
you because I know you were a big part of leading that effort. The Mercenary Star podcast has their home on the Valhalla Club Discord. We have a booth, feel privileged. We were one of the first 5 or so, I feel like.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were among the first. So like I said, feel privileged. I feel like we're in that special big booth area in the back, private curtains and all. But no, it's great.
There's
Um,
11 booths now. I just counted.
there
Holy
is.
crap.
I was getting ready to do the same. And here we'll just list off. We'll just give a good list. We've got Of Mechs and Men, obviously Valhalla Club podcast as well. Bungle Tech, On the Origins, and they've got like 4 podcasts by themselves or something.
Yeah.
Mercenary Star, Wolfnet Radio, Thunderhead Studios, The Coolant Pod, TikTok Battletech, the PPC Podcast, Mobile HQ Podcast, and Tales from the Periphery all have a fantastic booth in the Valhalla Club Discord. So that actually addresses one of the things I have from our fan mail
Oh,
because I got a wonderful email. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It was a novel, but I was so thankful for it and told him so and replied with a novel to answer all his questions and praise and constructive feedback and stuff. So,
hmm.
but I want to shout him out. Kyle, thank you so much for the email. Hopefully this helps. I know he was lamenting a list of podcasts and stuff. This is not a complete list by any means, but it is a good list to start with for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Like Wolfnet has their own server. It's like
yeah,
they've got a booth, but they more so just like will post
and
links of when
there's
an episode goes live. And um
absolutely,
what was who was it? MechBay declined having a booth because they also already have a
they've
active
got a
successful
very
server, which
very
is
active,
great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but I would say they're always welcome, and their
Oh
members
yeah.
are they're definitely members of the Discord.
Hmm. Yep.
They just decided not to have a managed booth because, like I said, their server is popping off all the time. So
Yep.
absolutely. Well, hey, let's get into today's episode. I haven't even said which one it is. We're on episode 15 today, and if you didn't know by the thumbnail, because you're not watching the VOD, we are looking at the Steel Wolves, aka the Wolf Hunters, and they are a very unique faction slash mercenary unit that went through multiple iterations. But part of why Mike is here is because he played them primarily in the Clix game, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, absolutely, the Clix game, the game which 95% of us skipped entirely. And no, not probably not that much, but there's a large portion of us. I honestly didn't even know it existed until after it was out of print and I could no longer buy it. And so I don't even have any of the clicks. Um, but I was in my post-college years when the Dark Age novels started happening, and moved the timeline forward, and I was definitely one of the people who was not happy with it. Uh, and like I am excited to go back and reread them. The ones that I read like 3 or 4 maybe, and then read through all of them. Um, I am a voracious reader, so I should be able to do it fairly quickly, comparatively. But in hindsight, knowing where they were taking it is definitely more exciting than when we were reading it in the moment. Because, Mike, let me tell you, it was rough.
That's what I
Going
hear.
going book to book, there was no consistency in characters or planets. We had no idea what was going on. And I've heard, I feel like it was a retcon to say, oh, this was like misinformation, disinformation,
Mm-hmm.
as people were figuring out what happened, nobody knew what was going on. And I feel like FanPro had no idea what was going on. So that was also probably why it felt like that. So, um, but I digress. We are going to cover them. They are a very interesting faction, and some really cool characters have come out of it into the late Dark Age, which I have read a lot of those, and then into Ill Clan as well. So, first things first. Let's talk about where they came from, where they started. They were founded in universe in 3132 by Galaxy Commander Cal Raddick. He was a Wolf Clan warrior, Trueborn. Although this is another thing that I missed because I didn't read those Dark Age novels. He was a prefect of the Republic of the Sphere. Because Clan Wolf was part of the Republic of the Sphere. Kind of. They were part
Lots
of
of
the
gray area.
they were part of Devlin's coalition, and then I know it is. Again, nobody knew what was going on. Yeah, they were part of it, and so they formed part of one of the prefectures, and he was a prefect, and he was the prefect when Grey Monday happened, and so he was like, oh, I'm gonna take this opportunity to carve my own little empire, aka start a new clan, aka become mercenaries. So that's why we're looking at them, because they were mercenaries. If not in the name at the beginning, definitely by the end. So, yeah, they Cal Raddick was the one who broke them off from the Republic of the Sphere. No longer became, and this was right at the Grey Monday. He was one of the factions that was created for the Clix game, right?
Mm-hmm.
What were the other
Yeah.
factions? Do you know them by name?
Oh, so you had your most of your core house ish units. I mean, it's okay. So you had Swordsworn, which is
Which
a
were
Davian.
Davion, right? Mm-hmm.
Yep. Um, the Dragon's Fury, Draconis
Greedo,
Combine.
obviously.
The Stormhammers, Lyran
Lyrans.
Commonwealth.
Awesome name, by the way. That's my favorite name, I think. Swordsworn's pretty
Yeah.
cool, too, but
Um, the Steel Wolves, obviously. You had the Spirit Cats, and I think the other one was just considered mercenary. Those were units that didn't have any faction symbol or anything on the base. Um, I think that was it for the initial run.
gotcha.
Oh, no, there was also um, Banson's Raiders,
Oh,
which is a
yes.
mercenary unit. Who else?
Yeah, like I said, I missed it. So I know of these factions and that they were the
The Highlanders too, I think were in
factions.
there, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I think they kind of
They might
represented
have came a
the
little bit
Republic,
later.
but I think they were the ones representing the Republic
Oh,
themselves.
and Republic of the Sphere. That's also
Of
a
course.
yeah.
Those losers. Just kidding. Sorry.
Well,
Sorry
I
for all
mean
of you.
now,
Yeah.
spoiler alert.
Spoiler. But yes, I mean, yeah. So, what you gonna do?
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah. So what's funny is that they were actually introduced in the MechWarrior Dark Age Clix game starter set first, and that was August of 2002, which is
Sounds
crazy to
about
me.
right.
In August of 2002, I was still in college. And I so here was the thing too, is that like living in Oklahoma, we had like maybe 2 game shops that were within a half an hour to hour's drive at the time. and they rarely had BattleTech stuff, and all they ever had was the Iron Wind Metals stuff. I don't know that they ever, at least for the first year plus, that they actually had any of the Click stuff, because I
Mm-hmm.
might have seen it if they had it, but I never saw it. So that was their first actual, like, here's product. And then
Mm-hmm.
in 2003, they started releasing novels in the Dark Age, in the MechWarrior Dark Age series,
Mm-hmm.
which was basically the jump forward in the timeline from, uh, I
The
guess
big
we
Wizkids reset.
yeah, the big Wizkids reset. Ugh, the both literal and in-game Dark Age of BattleTech. Because we went from like 3068 to, because that was about when the Civil War ended,
Mm-hmm.
to to like 3133 or something, and we were like, wait, what the heck? We jumped forward almost. We jumped forward 75 years. What's going on? Like, where are these
Yeah,
people that we
the
know? I
the
mean,
first book was by Stackpole. It was
it
Ghost War.
was.
Came out December 2002 and was set in November to March, 3132 to 3133. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And I love Stackpole as an author. Great author. I have been following him as a BattleTech and Star Wars author forever. And then I eventually discovered some of his original stuff, which is like fantasy. Love it. Um, yeah, it's so I was excited for this novel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember liking it. And that's saying something, because, and I think part of it is because we'd gone from 3067, 3068, height of the FedCom Civil War, mechs everywhere, every kind of mech, all the new mechs galore, new technology, clan mechs, intersphere mechs, mixtures of both, to a book with like two mechs.
Yeah.
And we didn't even know what
And
one
they come in at
was.
like the end.
They come in at the very end. We didn't even know what one of them was.
Yeah.
And and then it was like, you know, one of the worst battle scenes in BattleTech. Honestly, it was like not even battle; it was like a skirmish, roughly. Um, so yeah, it was rough. Book 2 was actually the first book that we see the Steel Wolves, and it was a call to arms by Lauren Coleman, and that came out in February of 2003. Um, but I don't remember hardly anything about it. I've read the excerpt, and we're going to talk about all of the books here in a minute, but we're not there yet. But that was when they were first. So they first appeared in existence for the masses in the MechWarrior Dark Age Clix game starter sets, and then they first appeared in fiction in A Call to Arms by Lauren Coleman in February of 2003. So, kind of fun facts. They were one of the factions created for MechWarrior Dark Age Clix game. Yeah, Cal Radic being a prefect of the Republic of the Sphere really threw me whenever I was learning about them, because I was like, wait,
Yeah.
he was part of the Republic of the Sphere, yet he was a
A
galaxy
true
commander in
born. Yeah.
Trueborn galaxy commander in Clan Wolf. Man, WizKids did not know anything about the BattleTech when they took over. That was my thought. That was my initial thought. Um, yeah. So, later on, Anastasia Kerensky gets involved. She is incognito at first as Tasake,
Yeah.
the lone mech warrior. I don't know. That's kind of okay. Like I said, I don't know what they're trying to do, but I am excited to try to figure it out again later. But yeah, you do have a couple of the clicks with you, and we're going to get to that in a
Mhm.
minute when we talk about what would a fun Steel Wolf Hunter Force Pack look like. But for now, we're going to get into it. I don't think there was any dedicated source books for them.
Mm.
There was a unit digest in Shrapnel number 12 on the Steel Wolves, and funny enough, it's actually about the Steel Wolves after they split with the Wolf Hunters. And it brings them up to current Ill Clan timeline, which I was excited for. Because they're a true mercenary. We'll get to the history in a second, but they are a true mercenary unit as the Steel Wolves, as opposed to just being a quasi-clan unit.
Looks like they might also be mentioned in this Field Manual 3145.
Yeah, they're mentioned there.
Shattered Fortress. That's
Shattered
another
Fortress, Empire
common.
Alone.
Yeah.
Empire Alone was obviously in there. Let's see. The Wolf Hunters were in Shattered Fortress. Yeah, the Wolf Hunters were in Shattered Fortress and Turning Point Irion, along with, Field Manual 3145. So, yeah, and like I said, those were the source books that came out, from FanPro originally during the Dark Age times. So, yeah, I completely missed those. I have picked up, I don't know if I have Error Report. I think I have Error Report, not Field Manual. Maybe I have Field Manual in PDF somewhere. And then I've got Shattered Fortress and Empire Alone, of course. And then the Shrapnel one. I actually did read that. It was pretty good. So
I am behind in my shrapnels.
I am too, but I was, that is the good thing about Shrapnels, is that knowing I was about to do this, I could go read the, 5 pages about the Steel Wolves in the Ill Clan era, which was, again, it was cool that it's brought forward that far. So, All right. Well, let's get into the fiction list real quick. I'm going to switch over, and then we'll just go back to discussion. So, if you are watching the VOD, I am going to scroll through the list of Dark Age novels and just touch on the ones that are related to the Steel Wolves and Wolf Hunters. All right, so we're going to take a look at the MechWarrior Dark Age novel list and kind of highlight all the ones that have the Steel Wolf / Wolf Hunters in them. So, first one that they were in was Call to Arms. It was book 2 of Dark Age by Lauren Coleman. And it was just kind of a standalone introduction to the Steel Wolves and a few minor characters. It wasn't really anything. It kind of introduced, there are a few still working HPGs. That was kind of like the extent of it. Then we skip to Dark Age number 4, which actually begins a trilogy. It's A Silence in the Heavens was Dark Age number 4, and it is basically the Steel Wolves have been taken over by Anastasia Kerensky at this point, and they assault Northwind. We actually get to see some, Highlanders as well as a Republic of the Sphere Paladin. So it's a probably a good one, I would say, early on. But that was by Martin Del Rio. He wrote the Proving Grounds trilogy. Book 2 in that was Truth and Shadows. And then book 3 was Service for the Dead. So that's Dark Age novels 4, 5, and 6, I believe.
Yep.
So, 4, 5, and 6. Then we skip all the way down to Dark Age number 10, which was Flight of the Falcon by Victor Milan, which is fantastic. That was in June of 2004. and yeah, that is an interesting introduction into Malvina Hazen. But
Oh, Malvina.
yes, but it involves the Steel Wolves / Wolf Hunters. So yeah, interesting, for sure. And then the next book is Blood of the Isle, which is Dark Age number 11 by Lauren Coleman in August 2004. And that is an interesting book about the Stormhammers and the Highlanders teaming up against the Steel Wolves and Jade Falcon. Oh no, and the Steel Wolves. All
Yeah.
three of them
All
all of
against.
them against the Jade Falcons because
It's
Malvina
because the
banned
Falcons
them.
are crazy.
Yeah, this is when they go crazy, right? Yeah. So yes, that is when we start to see the infamous Malvina go off the rails. Next in the list is Masters of War, which jumps. Oh no, sorry. Then we go to Wolf Hunters, which is number 22 in the list. Let's see. Did I pass it already? Nope. Way too many of these, honestly. And it was by Kevin Kiliani. Kiliani. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know what else he wrote. Apparently, he wrote a decent amount for some of the readout source books and stuff. One of the first ones for CGL. So, ad. But yeah, so Wolf Hunters, and then after that we get that was Dark Age 22. Then we go to Masters of War, Dark Age number 25, by Michael Stackpole. Okay, and I'm sure there's much more action involved because it has Alaric Wolf and Anastasia Karinsky and the Steel Wolves and the Wolf Hunters, and there's big battles between them. So. Fighting ensues. And then, lastly, as far as novels that involve them as a major character, A Bonfire of Worlds in 2009. It was CGL's first Dark Age novel. And that was, like I said, 2009 by Steve Mohan Jr.
I liked that book.
I have it. I can't remember anything about it. And I don't know that we've got that on audio, don't we?
I
think we
I'm
do.
not sure.
I feel like we do. A Bonfire of Worlds. I feel like that was one of the first Audible books that we got. No. I must be. No, you know what? I don't know. Yeah, Bonfire of Worlds. Because it was published again. So here's the thing. A Bonfire of Worlds was a Battle Core entry in 2009. And it happened over the whole course of the whole year. I think it was published as a novel completely later on, and it was republished in August of 2019. And it's about Tucker Harwell. So yes, I'm fairly certain.
There was a lot going on.
There was a lot
in that book.
in that. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that is the list there of novels. Yeah, so let's just get into a little bit of discussion, and then we'll move on to some other things. Again, Steel Wolves were a splinter faction from Prefecture 4 in the Republic of the Sphere. Cal Radic was the Galaxy Commander, and it was interesting that he basically had the intent to go conquer Terra, like to reform Clan Wolf and go, conquer Terra. But he didn't really reform Clan Wolf. He said, "Well, we're going to call ourselves the Steel Wolves. We're going to go conquer Terra, and we're going to be the L Clan." Seems very misguided,
Like a solid wolf, you know?
like a solid wolf, right? But he's erratic, and Radics have never had like really good, you know, chances in the novels.
To
They're
the
always,
point,
yeah,
you never hear about that that blood name too much.
no, exactly. It's never in there, but that's okay. So yeah, he basically does that. They have very limited success early on, which is kind of funny in my opinion. Looking back at it, I'm like, you break off, and you go with a bunch of mechs, and you can't close the deal on even some planets that you're attacking. Like he basically just started raiding planets, and kind of it seemed kind of like a little bit of piracy, honestly, because they didn't conquer the planets; they're just raiding them.
Hmm.
So, and since they weren't mercenaries hired to do it, I don't know. It just strikes me a little bit of as like piracy.
There's a lot
um,
of what is happening going on at that
yes,
point in time.
also true. Also true. Um, but yeah, let's see. It only lasts his reign only lasted a couple of years, which does not surprise me because hello,
Anastasia come in there quick.
hello, Radic. We just mentioned how obscure those people are. Yeah, Tasakay, a freelance mech warrior, which again, she's a clan warrior, but she's a freelance mech warrior. What were you doing, Wizkids?
WTF.
What were you doing? But she's freelance mech warrior. She comes in with the wolves, and serves
That's
under
not
Cal
suspicious.
Radic. That's not suspicious at all. She serves with Cal Radic underneath his rule for a little bit, because she comes in as a star colonel. So I guess she must have been up until he announced a raid of a certain planet, in which case she was like, "Nope, trial of position. I'm taking over," and in true Kerensky fashion, trounces him. She's the Ill Clan era version of Natasha Kerensky. Let's be honest. I mean, she is of Natasha's bloodline. She wears the Black Widow symbol proudly. Yeah, she's pretty crazy, in a good way. But yeah, so she does that. They go fight on Northwind, which is where we get the Proving Grounds trilogy. Ultimately, are not successful. Sorry, Tasake. They go try
Rip.
to attack Terra, which is kind of funny to me, but they do. And yeah, I mean, they were completely outclassed, but technically speaking, they landed in Russia and fought on Terra.
Hey, that helps with heat management.
It has to, right? Also, I mean, I guess they weren't part of Clan Wolf anymore. They legitimately were just the Steel Wolves at this point,
Mm.
not labeled as part of Clan Wolf at all. Not really a mercenary unit. They kind of showed up probably thinking, oh yeah, everyone's done the whole, what was it called, where they turned it all in, like everyone was like demilitarized.
The swords to plowshares
Mm-hmm,
type
mm-hmm.
type deal. Yeah.
But yeah,
Mechs to plowshares.
mechs to plowshares. That'd be a lot of plows, though. Honestly, that's a that's a lot of metal.
That's where
I
all those mining mechs come from.
sure. stupid mining mechs, like the mining mechs and the forestry mechs and the
Yup.
what the aggro mechs. My goodness, man! Like it pained me, like physical pain when I like saw all these things. When I finally was made aware of like the Dark Age mechs, and all I saw were like these ones with chainsaws and like other things, and I'm
Yeah.
like, what the heck are they doing? Which again was why I didn't buy into the clicks or even like try to find them.
We thought we could be farmers. We were wrong.
We were wrong. We tried Farming Simulator 3000. It did not. It did not work out. Yeah. So, um, and I know some people really love their farming mechs and their ice engine mechs. Whatever. That's not what I'm here for. But yeah, they go on. They fight in the Sky region. And then eventually they just kind of break up, and they don't really break up in the sense of like completely dissolve. Natasha Kerensky basically goes off and says, "Well, I'm going to take this core group and
Mhm.
become the Wolf Hunters, and we're just straight up going to be mercenaries because they kind of already were, but they weren't acting like it." And then the other wolves, the other steel wolves, left to go be real wolves. However, the Star Colonel who broke off from Natasha Kerensky, Varnov Fetladril, was anything but clan honoring and was basically hiring them out as mercenaries under, unbeknownst to the rest of the Steel Wolves. And so yeah, they both became mercenaries under different groups. Varnov began launching raids. He tried to take their homeworld of Tigris back. Uh, you know, on and on and on. And yeah, they ultimately he was kicked out by his subordinate, which was Star Colonel
Zara.
Zara. Yep. And so yeah, they moved on. Um, Also, along in that time, around 3145, the wolves, the Steel Wolves, under Commander Zara, started taking contracts. Basically, at that point, they were like, "All right, fine. The rest of the clans think we're Desgra mercenaries already. We might as well go earn a living." And
Yeah.
so, they at least keep some clan honor in how they fight, but they go and they take contract for the Free Worlds League, and which is interesting because they come in under the reborn Free Worlds League, basically as they're trying to reconquer the Free Worlds League. So I'm kind of more interested in that group than the Wolf
Yeah,
Hunters.
we
Honestly,
need more free worlds
absolutely.
literature.
Yeah, I mean, like I obviously this is coming from literature, but I need to read part of that. Because yeah, they basically take part in the League invasions of Regulus, and then yeah, moving into Ill Clan era. Like I said, the unit summary in Shrapnel 12 kind of brings them up to speed here. So yeah, check it out. Um, it's really interesting. Like they they even go work for the Lyran Commonwealth. Uh, let's see.
And we still
Yeah.
don't know what deal was struck
Mm-mm.
with Anastasia for our because in Hour of the Wolf,
Mm-hmm.
they sent their people out to bring everyone back into the
Yeah.
fold for the Battle of Terra, and Anastasia Kerensky shows up, but it's just like there was a deal struck, and we still don't know what that is.
And it wasn't all of them.
No.
Uh-uh. It was not all of them. They let's see. I think part of the deal was that they were defending the wolf holdings.
Mm.
Because the clan protectorate's purifier cluster squared off with them during the Ill Clan era, and they were
I have a
expecting
feeling too.
they're expecting only to find kind of the same thing that was happening in the Jade Falcon occupation zone, just like the old and the decrepit and the young, but instead they ended up going up against not only the Steel Wolves but some some Free Worlds League troops.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I have a suspicion too. Part of the deal made was that she would be she would be the one to take out Malvina because there was that extreme hatred between the two of them. Because even in Hour of the Wolf, uh, she's Malvina's so focused on where is Anastasia.
Oh, yeah, where's Anastasia?
Yeah,
Yeah.
where is Anastasia at? And when she pops up on the field in like that final battle or whatever, it was like just beeline focus for both of them. So I feel like
Mm-hmm.
part of the deal was, all right, you get exclusive rights to take her out.
Maybe so. It will be interesting once we actually get some more fiction in the Ill Clan era.
Yeah,
I know that they've been super focused, but it has been extremely dry in the fiction.
they've been relying on shrapnel for sure,
They've been relying on shrapnel, which
which is great.
shrapnel is great. Their reliance on it is not.
True. Yes.
And they continue to drop some novellas.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I feel like they're relying on their authors to try to push out some content in snippets to keep us placated. But like again, we were getting like a novel every few months, and
Mm-hmm.
it was novel, and they were novels, and now we're getting shrapnel once a quarter, maybe, if that, maybe every 6 months. How
Shrapnel
often is
did
it?
start off a lot faster.
It did. It's not as
It was
fast
almost
anymore.
monthly for like the first year,
No,
and, and then it slowed
it was
down.
maybe quarterly. We only
Was
got
it?
we only got like 4 in the first year.
My concept of time is
Um,
broken.
oh sure, because but we'll think about it. It started pre-COVID,
Mm-hmm.
and now post-COVID, we're only on 17, and
Mm.
we're
Yeah.
5 years later, basically.
I think that first like five was like bam, bam, bam,
Because
and then it started slowing down.
The first issue of Shrapnel was free with the Clan Invasion Kickstarter,
Mm.
and that was in 2019, or was 2019, I think. Again, my concept of time is also horrible.
What is time?
What is time? I don't even know.
And it doesn't help when you're going through this and you're
Oh
like, oh yeah, back in 3065, and now we're in 3145. What
yeah,
is
just
time?
way too many dates. Uh, anyway, the Steel Wolves and Wolf Hunters are two sides of the same coin. Um, I'm definitely fascinated by them but at the same time, like of the groups that came from that Clix starter packs,
Mm-hmm.
they're the only ones that really have moved forward in the timeline. I mean, like at least publicly. Like I
Mm-hmm.
have heard nothing from the Swordsworn or the
Nope.
Stormhammers. I mean, apparently
Nope.
their Stormhammers have a few more instances there, as we
Yeah.
mentioned. Um, but the Banson's Raiders, the Dragon's
Highlanders were
Fury,
already well established, so that
of
doesn't really
course.
count.
Yeah, I don't really. But like the Dragon's Fury, were they in any? I gotta think. That they were in some other stuff. I wonder if they were part of some of those other. Well, I'm sure they're there.
Mm-hmm.
If only there was a place to find such things.
What?
Which I am getting a lot of information today from Sarna. However, I do have half of these source books and did peruse some of them, but Sarna, as someone who is not a Clix player, and this is a very Dark Age focused, I'm relying on Mike and Sarna today a lot. So, um,
See, lore wise for the Steel Wolves, I'm probably more so lacking than you are because
oh
I
no,
I came into the game, so I just knew the units on tabletop, and I played so the Clix and then MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries, and then I read the first two novels,
yeah,
and that was about it. I was never a reader, um, to the point like the this universe, grabbed, hooked me, um, and I read that first book in 3 days. And I think I was in the middle of reading the second book, and we were out on like a family camping trip. And I was in the camper reading, and my mom's like, "Put that down, get outside." And I'm just like, the one time in
the
my
one
life I'm
time,
reading a book, and you're
yeah,
telling me to put it down.
yeah.
And I didn't really read after that.
Well, thanks,
And
mom.
so, yeah, thanks, mom. And then redis. So I had no idea that the MechWarrior Dark Age and the game and the Clicks game, like the video game, Clicks game, and then those books.
We're tied
I only
together.
knew it. I only knew it as MechWarrior, and
Sure,
that's what I thought it was. I had no clue of the
right,
existence of BattleTech. I
right.
didn't know anything about that, and then it was uh we were it was a couple years. It was shortly after the initial Kickstarter had closed and it had reopened.
Hmm.
So you could get like those late secondary backers. I was just and I
I
got
think
back
so.
into MechWarrior Online back in the tens, but that
Yeah,
still has a MechWarrior name, so I still don't know that it's tied to a bigger BattleTech universe
right.
because everything's named MechWarrior, MechWarrior, MechWarrior. And then a couple years ago, I get bored and I'm like, man, I loved this stuff. Is there anything else, anything new? And then that's when my mind exploded and I was like, holy crap, it's what is Battletech? And I'm like,
What
oh,
is this?
all of this is this.
Hmm.
And it goes back decades. And there's all this stuff so now I'm slowly playing catch up. I'm a little happy they slowed down on publishing because it gives me an opportunity to maybe catch up. But
Yeah.
I don't read fast because I've never been a reader, so I don't know, I'll probably never catch up.
Oh, come
Because
on.
there's so much to consume.
I mean,
But
hopefully we'll get more audiobooks put in
that would
after
help.
the Kickstarter happens. And I mean because we haven't even gotten like we were told a year ago.
Hmm.
Well, here, hold on. We haven't gotten any audiobooks in like a year.
I think the last one was Trends Hour of the Wolf,
Was it?
or I don't know,
Wait, do we even
possibly.
have Hour of the Wolf yet?
I know he finished recording it a hot minute ago.
Man, I don't even remember. Cuz I definitely read like I've read every novel immediately when they come
Hmm.
out. But I'm trying to remember if if he actually if he actually did the audio for it yet or if they released it, I should say.
When we interviewed him for our episode 7, he was pretty much wrapping up Hour of the Wolf recording.
Maybe that was the last one then, but still, it's been over a year. I feel like.
It's been a minute.
Um,
And then
hopefully
he
after
jumped over
they've,
to Shadowrun.
yeah, hopefully, well, and that's part of that is because I know that they have several other narrators that they're gonna use,
Hmm.
which is great. I'm all for it, but like at the same time, chop chop.
Yeah,
We're hung.
Catalyst now has a RPG division, a board game division, and their miniatures. Like in the past couple years, CGL split from one company to three sub companies.
Look, we've had a conversation about the RPG division. Um,
Like,
I'd like to become a consultant. I'll just put it that way. So.
I have ideas
I
and
have
opinions.
ideas and opinions, and I
But he's an
mean,
expert.
I feel like I'm coming from a pretty good knowledge base. I mean, I run an RPG podcast, and I've played, you know, at least a dozen
Google's
RPGs.
Oodles and noodles of RPGs.
Yeah. And I feel pretty knowledgeable on BattleTech, so come on. Anyway, um, yeah. So hey, let's talk about this, shall we? Let's talk about um, let's talk about a force pack for the
Mm,
Steel Wolves. And why don't you give us a preview, video preview? If you're watching the video,
boom.
we're gonna see some clicks. This is a bit of history,
Yeah.
but I
So
think that
I went.
seeing these in like new sculpts and re-released would be awesome.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
show us what you got.
I went garage diving a minute ago. Way back in the corner, I got 3 boxes.
That's awesome.
One full of infantry, one full of vehicles, and one full of mechs. And I just grabbed the first 4 that were on top out of my mech box, which apparently included a vehicle. Probably because that's where I have all my uniques at. But let's see, we've got Sadia Wolf and of all things, a catapult. And this
Oh
catapult is
man,
huge.
yeah,
Like that's a two
yeah,
and a half inch base.
that's
You know,
crazy.
it's
That's massive. I mean, it's as big as your
and
head.
it doesn't look anything like a catapult
It's
now.
almost as big as your face if you were to hold it
I
up to your face.
know.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
It's
Pretty close.
huge. Yeah. So that was a unique.
But
Um,
was she a freeborn? I feel like she was a freeborn because that's a
um,
wolf name.
yeah, or yeah, I think so.
Maybe. I feel like a Sadie wolf or something. Or was it Sadie or was it something else?
Sadia,
Sadia? Okay.
Sadia.
Oh, okay. Well, I could be totally wrong.
Sadia, Sadia. Oh,
Well, we all know as real Battletech fans that
we don't
if
know how
you're
to pronounce anything.
no, that and if you're piloting a catapult, then you're not a frontline trooper. So you're probably a freeborn.
Yeah, and then we've got Chris Wolf
Chris Wolf, great name.
in a Crimson Hawk.
Fantastic.
Not 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 very clan.
Not very clannish,
Not
no.
very clan. And then
Looks better than the catapult. Because was that I
yeah,
feel like that was an original sculpt. Like we hadn't
yeah,
had a Crimson Hawk before that, so
probably not. And look, the catapult's bigger than a Crimson Hawk. But well, a Crimson Hawk is that a medium? Crimson Hawk medium? I
dude, I
guess that
don't
would
know.
make sense.
What is it?
But
I don't even know.
the little gun, the
Yes.
little shoulder gun moves. You,
Nice.
yeah,
Actuation.
yeah. You can move the arms. You could rotate the the torso.
I mean, that's fun, but
Yeah, and
they're
then
definitely targeting kids for sure.
yeah, and it was all pre-painted, which is another thing the hardcore community hated. And then we have
That was a light.
Kendrick.
That was only 25 tenner.
Which one?
The Crimson Hawk,
Is how much?
25 tons.
Oh, well, a
It is a
light.
clan battle mech though.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah, it's like Blood Spirit,
Catapult's
I think.
not.
So Catapult is definitely not. I mean, technically, if you want to go back to the Star League
Yeah.
Exodus, then yes, it's a
And
it's a
then
clan
we've
mech.
got Kendrick Fetladril in a Mad Cat Mark
Nice.
III.
There we go. Now that's a medium, right? The Mark III, because you've
I
got the
feel
Mark
like
IV, which is an assault.
I don't know. Mad Cat Mark III.
Yeah, the Mad Cat Mark III is 55 tons.
Okay.
So,
It is just as tall as a catapult.
but looks way less proportional.
Yeah, but look at that beef right there.
Yeah,
That is
yeah, for
beef.
sure.
And then the fourth one I had on top is Mikos Wolf in a
Good old Mikos.
Maxim Mark II transport.
Heck yeah. bring in that vehicles.
Hovercraft.
We're all about the vehicles right now, so that's awesome.
Oh yeah.
I mean it's not a
That's a lance,
terrible.
not a
That's a
star, but
right,
yeah,
right.
it was the
It's not
first
a
four I grabbed.
It's not a terrible lance though. I mean, you got a medium, a heavy, and a light, and a vehicle.
Yeah. And the light.
Yeah, medium, heavy, light, and a vehicle. And the medium is pretty fast. And I mean, it's a miniature Mad Cat, a miniature Timberwolf, essentially. Although it
Yeah.
wasn't an Omni-Mech. But it still had 2 LRM-20s, 4 ER mediums, and 6 ER micros.
Let's see.
That's a sick payload. And it
Which one was
traveled.
that?
That's the Mad Cat Mark III.
Okay.
And they had Artemis 5 in the LRMs.
So you get some long range fire support from your star commander. Some
Yeah.
I don't know how fast the Mark III is.
The Mark III travels 97.
Okay, that's
So
not bad.
6.9 on the hex grid.
Yeah.
That's pretty
A, a,
fast.
a decent striking unit.
Yeah.
And then the Crimson Hawk.
The Crimson Hawk's slower.
It's a light.
Is a 25-ton light mech. Goes 86. It goes 5.8.
But he
Yes.
jumps.
He does jump. Hold on. Jump jets. Yeah, hold on. How many? Yeah, how many jump jets does he have? Is it like 5.88? I don't know.
I don't know. I can't tell on the
But
Dark Age minis.
I mean, the base model just has 2 ER large lasers.
Mhm.
So it's not really a scout mech,
Yeah.
even though it's 25 tons. And then who knows? I mean, obviously honestly, like other than the Maxim, what does the Maxim have? Is it just a regular Maxim? Does it say I have a
Yeah, it just says Maxim
what?
Mark II. Mark II.
Okay.
Hovercraft.
I mean, that's a 50-ton tank. And okay, so that's why you don't need the mech to be the scout, because that goes 129 kph.
Hmm. So in the Clix, at full health, it traveled 7 inches. The
Yeah,
catapult
that
at
means
full
nothing.
health. Yeah. The catapult at full health traveled 5 inches.
Well, I mean, catapults by nature go 4.6. I mean, you got a lot of long range support though.
Yeah. The Crimson Hawk was jumping 7 inch, and the Mad Cat Mark III at full health was 7.
Okay, so I bet that it's for the tabletop, and this is just me without looking it up. I could probably get on something and look it up, but I bet that it's like 5.88 on the. Although it doesn't really say improved jump jets, so maybe not. I don't know, but it goes 5.8, has jump jets. The vehicle goes 129 kph, which is 812.
Mm.
As far as the hexes go, and it has 2 MML3s, which aren't much, but it is a troop transport.
Yeah.
So it has 16-ton infantry bay, and you know better than I probably what that does. I don't know. Have you used troop transports in lately?
Not in a while.
Okay. Well,
I haven't played since LVO in January.
well, that's
I've
good.
been I've been so
I
busy.
played in December. That was the last time I played.
So yeah.
So Christmas break. I need to force my kids to play over the summer. So
Yeah. The Steel Wolves and the Clix though. So one way they differentiated the different factions. So
Mm-hmm.
you could easily have, you know, there was a lot of Crimson Hawks, right? So there would be a Crimson Hawk in like every faction, just about.
Well, it makes sense. A
Um,
25-ton light mech.
and depending on the faction, it would have a slightly different loadout. So it would have, slightly different weapons, characteristics, this and the other. As for like, either it did energy or ballistic or missile. Um, and another way they differentiated them was in the dial, the clicky
Of
dial,
course, yes.
right? So,
That dial was I mean, I'm not like I don't hate the dial as a
hmm
mechanic for certain games. I've played some of the other games that used the dials. In fact, I played not a lot, but I had some of the Star Wars ones, maybe. If it wasn't Star Wars, it was definitely Marvel.
yeah, there's Marvel.
Because it was Hero Clicks. I mean, that was where they're coming from.
Yeah, Hero Clix. I forget the D&D esque version. Mage Knight was another one.
Oh, I never played that, but I
Yeah.
sounds fun.
But so as the Steel Wolves take damage for a short amount of time, their stats get stronger. So they would
Nice.
actually deal more damage and go faster. And then they would start to quickly die off. The
Of course.
Swordsworn, which I played a lot of, um, specifically in their mechs. Their mechs were really powerful
Mm-hmm.
compared to most others, but they overheated really fast. So the mechs also had a heat dial, which is this part, and
Nice.
then it gave you modifiers for the regular dial. So one click of heat, no modifiers.
Mm-hmm.
Two clicks of heat on this had no modifiers. Once you get to three clicks, you would have -1 damage, energy damage, and it was yellow. So then you had to look at your special equipment card and see what yellow was. And then you'd have to roll against that. And that's probably for just like a void shutdown. And
Nice.
then, and it was different based on if it was energy weapons or ballistic weapons. So if it's energy, you're basically just avoiding shutdown. If it's ballistic, you're like avoiding shutdown
An
and
explosion.
ammo
Of
explosions.
course.
And if you failed the ammo explosion roll, it would, tell you one, two, three, however much clicks of damage. There was another faction that was a lot easier to repair, so you would use um, the repair vehicles. Once you're in base-to-base contact, you would roll for a melee
Repair.
attack, which was a repair.
Gotcha.
Um, and on the bottom center of all the dials are triangles in various spots. Green, the green triangle was full health. And as you took damage, eventually you would get to a black triangle, and that was a repair stop. You couldn't repair better
Okay. Then that.
than that.
Interesting.
Um, and then at some point, you're not dealing any more damage, but you can run away, and you are salvageable.
Nice.
Um, oh, and then if you're dead, you just get three bullets,
It's
three little
it
bullet holes.
nice. It is interesting how they built all of that into the mechanics of it. Like
hmm
essentially it's like, hey, let's have campaign operations light
Yeah,
built into the
without record
mechanics
sheets.
without record sheets. Yeah. Um yeah, no, I do find it fascinating for sure. And
I think that's another reason I like Alpha Strike so much because the Clicks was
I'm gonna say it probably
my first ever tabletop game.
I'm gonna say it probably is well, it's definitely more
Similar-ish.
similar. Yeah, more similar than classic for sure.
Oh yeah.
So, um, I like the idea of the repairability. I think that's
hmm
really cool.
Yeah, that was
Um,
nice.
and I again, kind of gives it the mechanics of campaign operations. So,
hmm
which I feel like I have yet to really play, like sit down and play a full game. I played a few rounds of Alpha Strike at
hmm
a local con, like just a couple rounds. So I haven't played an actual game, but a full game. But yeah, it seems like that would be missing from Alpha Strike, the kind of like campaign stuff. I
Yeah.
as I've said it before, but I feel like Classic tends to lend itself more towards the RPG side of things, and Alpha Strike tends to lend itself to competitive and casual play,
Mm-hmm.
on a bigger scale. Like, like let's get a bunch of mechs on the table, which is awesome. So
Yep. Yeah, I think I had mentioned it when you were on our RPG episode.
probably.
Is during this point in time, um, Wizkids was putting out monthly scenarios,
Oh, that's
and
cool.
then you would go to your game store and you would play for either side. You would choose
Yeah.
a side and play for that side. And then, much like Friday Night Magic, right? There's your judge, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Or
Um,
an organizer of some
yeah,
Yeah.
and he was like officially like certified rules dude, and he would track. They would track the progress for the battles for that week.
Turn
Who
it in.
won? Who won? Submit it to
That's
Big Whiz
awesome.
Kids, and then you could go to the website and track the war, essentially.
And I like that as a concept. I really
And
do.
each player had stats. So like with Friday Night Magic, you get your code or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then your stats are recorded by the dude and sit up, and then you could pull up your stats and track your the leaderboards nationally. And so
Yeah.
they had national level tournaments and all kinds of stuff. It was really cool. It was really
Yeah.
cool.
I like I said, I do like that as a concept, and I think that's kind of what they were doing. I feel like that's a little bit of what they were doing just recently with the worldwide events.
Hmm.
Um,
Like testing it,
yeah, I feel like they were
testing this
testing it. I
idea.
I would love to see it more, or
Yeah.
if not more often, then at least on a regular basis. And I would love to see
Hmm.
more versions of it. I would say so.
Yep.
But no, that's awesome. And you know, obviously, clicks are not around anymore. I mean, I don't know. I've never looked to see who's selling them or how much. I assume they're going for a pretty penny though these days.
I don't
Um,
know. I haven't looked.
yeah, I haven't either.
It'd
That's
be on eBay.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's more money I don't have. So, um, I gotta save up for Gen Con at this point. So
Oh yeah, right.
yeah, for sure. Which, if you didn't know, I am gonna get to go to Gen Con. I'm super excited for it, and yeah. So I don't have it ready yet, but I am going to have a few ways for fans of the show to support the show and the trip to Gen Con and some swag and some other stuff. But that's forthcoming. I don't have it ready this exact moment, but it's going to be very soon because I'm going to try to get in for this month before Gen Con. But yeah, so pay attention to that. Mike, anything else you want to add before we close it up?
Um, I don't think so. In the Discord we have game night weekends.
Yes, we do.
They've been a little bit on the downslope the past few weeks, but it's summer and everyone's out with their families, hiking, fishing, traveling. The weather's nice. We were a lot more active in the winter when there wasn't
Yes.
as much to do. But it's summertime, so naturally that has come down a little bit. I'm also prepping to move in a less than 2 months, which has my crew here not pleased
Nice.
with me. Um,
I can understand.
yeah, but gotta go start or and a community small already exists in Anchorage, Alaska. But hey, if anybody ever comes out
Awesome.
there, hit me up in Discord. We can link up at Bosco's in Anchorage.
That
And
would be
then I
cool.
think you've been doing some streaming action lately.
I have. I've been streaming MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries in preparation for MechWarrior 5 Clans that comes out in
Oh, so
October.
hype.
I am really excited for it. But what's been great is I've been playing mostly with people from the Valhalla Club Discord. So if you want to join in, I'm happy to play with anyone. And it's fantastic that MechWarrior 5 is cross-platform.
Yep.
And so
Did
whether
you?
you're on Xbox or PlayStation or Xbox on PC or
Hmm.
Steam or Epic,
Yeah. And
I
you've
think
been
that's all
playing
the
it
way.
vanilla,
Yes, I've been playing
no
vanilla.
mods,
So
so that
the
you can play with anybody.
absolutely. So the only mod that I have had active most of the time was one that the group that I've been playing with requested, so they could help me, and it's literally just to give them visibility for what I can see. It's like multiplayer tabs is what it's called.
Oh, okay.
But I've noticed that even people who don't have it can still play. So
Yeah,
yeah,
another
anyone
thing
can
that's
play.
nice that PGI did with MechWarrior 5. So anytime a DLC comes out, right, everybody's game updates whether you buy the game or not. That's
Yeah,
because the content from the DLC is being pushed in that patch. And then, so if somebody just bought the game with no expansions and they want to join you, and let's
yeah,
say you have all of them, they can play along through all of those expansions. They don't need to buy the expansion because the host essentially shares permissions to play in all the DLCs.
yeah.
So you go off the host's
Machine
DLC content.
story. Yeah.
Yeah, so
And that's fantastic. You know, now on top of that, even just if you only had the base game, all the DLCs have changed the base game.
oh yeah.
So there's so many things in the base game alone. Now that said, if you don't have MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries, it is on sale for 60% off on Steam right now. Probably other places too. And the DLCs are all on sale as well.
And it's in Game Pass.
And it's in Game Pass. Yeah, if you have Game Pass on PC or Xbox, you have no excuse not to play it.
Yeah.
Because it is included.
I forgot that I've got Game Pass Ultimate, which includes PC.
Yeah.
And I've got games that have been in my Steam wish list for a while that are in Game Pass. So now I've got them.
It's fantastic. I love it.
It's great.
Well, and because of that, so like I have it on Steam. My oldest, who has a pretty nice computer, just bought it on Steam while it was on sale, and then my youngest can play on the Xbox because it's on Game Pass, and I have Game Pass Ultimate. So
You're one away from a Lance.
I know, right? Though they definitely are gonna have to practice before we can do anything. I think.
Probably still better than the AI teammates.
Here's the thing: the AI at least will do what I say.
Ooh, there you go. Oh, you want me to do that? Well, now I'm not.
No, I'm not.
I'm gonna do the opposite.
No, it would be fun for sure. I know my youngest has made it through the tutorial and gone a little bit into his own campaign. So, but yeah, check us out on the Valhalla Club Discord, and sign up for the Mercenary Star Podcast alerts when you sign up for roles.
Oh yeah.
That and MechWarrior 5. That way you know when I go live, because I always post it in there. Also you'll know when I drop an episode or something. So okay, well, I think that is just about all. I will say, for those watching and listening, be sure to check out our sponsor, Fortress Miniatures and Games. They are fantastic, and just a great place to get your minis, all things BattleTech. They don't have the Steel Wolves Force Pack because it doesn't exist, but if it did, they would have it. So get all the other ones you need there. So
yeah, right.
No, they're great. Fast shipping. I always get things too, like a koozie, or like a little neoprene cup. Oh my gosh, coaster.
Holder. Yeah.
Coaster. Yeah. Cup holder. Yeah. Gosh, words. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and but definitely check them out if you need it. That's fortressminiaturesandgames.com. And I think that's gonna do it. Mike,
Everyone Shout outs is just going to be, for this one, I'm going to say shout outs is going to be the fam, because we're busy as heck and we're trying to get all of our stuff in, and it's a constant, non-stop, everything, all the last minute hikes, all the packing. But we're getting after it. So shout outs to the fam, because
Awesome.
we're busy.
I love it.
And then
Absolutely,
everybody
fam's
needs to get
important.
their paint booths ready
Oh man,
because it's happening.
I've got it right here. It's not set up exactly yet. I have someone who's offered me a case to put all my paints in, so that I can store them a little better. Because right now they're just like rolling around in a tray. But I got a new desk. I'm working on getting another arm to put a camera on, so I can
Oh,
point it
nice.
down. And the camera has one of those ring lights on it, so I'll be able to point it down. I'll be able to light my space. And so I've got this L-shaped desk, and it'll be here. Right now I've been using it for my RPG stuff, but this will be where it happens.
Does that mean painting streams?
Painting streams, yes, absolutely.
Ooh.
No, seriously, that is one thing I want to do for sure. So, well, all right. Well, thank you, sir, for joining on. Thank you for joining in so late.
Glad I could assist.
Yeah.
So I know I didn't have much other than the Clix talk, but it's been a great time.
No. The Click Talk was great and super informative. I appreciate it. I very much appreciate it. So, we're going to shut it down there. And once again, thank you. Good night. God bless.
Night, everybody.